Hey, Lolly D.
Lolly D? Lolly D's not.
Where is she? Oh, there she is.
If you want to, Aurora. Hi, guys. Hi. Yay. I'm so glad you guys are here. And I'm sorry I was a little bit detained out there. We've had one of those Horizon kind of mornings. You know, like, I'm sorry, this isn't going to happen, and that's not going to happen, and this isn't going to happen, and all those aren't going to happen. Things all happened at the same time. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're all here. These amazing people that were not supposed to be here to help me out today are here now. And I appreciate all of you guys. Sturm, Jeannie up in the booth. I've got all kinds of help out here that I didn't expect. Claire and Avora and Sheehan and Likerby. All of these guys showed up just to help out because they answered the call. Trainer Cal's not here again. He is still struggling with that tooth. He has got a tooth problem. And I'm going to tell you what it is. It's really personal, but I'm just going to share it anyway. So he got, he had a bad tooth. I will tell you, in America, we should be appreciative of our healthcare. I'm not kidding. I have gotten a big earful about the UK and their healthcare. Not throwing shade at them, but they are not quite. You know, they're a little bit struggling. Like he couldn't get antibiotics for a while, and he's been dealing with a tooth that's half in and half out for a couple of weeks. And so today he got his emergency appointment. So thankfully he's taking care of that right now. So in his stead, I am very lucky and grateful that someone else has stepped in for me at the last minute. And that would be none other than the unemployed alcoholic. So welcome him to the stage.
Hey, he's that guy with the face. Yeah.
Right? This is so cool.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Right? And I am so grateful that you're here because, I mean, you just came home from vacation. I know it because I was talking to you, I think, when you got out of the car, maybe?
Yeah.
When I talked to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Last week, my wife and I got to go to another country, not quite as far as the UK, but we were in Canada. Anybody from Canada out here? Anybody
My brother lives there.
Canada? Has anybody ever heard of Canada?
I've heard of Canada.
There's a couple people that have heard of Canada. All right. Yeah.
They have good maple syrup.
Yeah, indeed. I didn't try any.
How you go to Canada and not try maple syrup, man?
Well, I just done messed around and caught the diabetes a little while ago, so I'm really watching my sugar.
I apologize. I'm so sorry.
I feel like you caught the diabetes.
Caught the diabetes. Yeah,
my mom did the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's how that works. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't pay attention.
You know, I usually tell Cal a little funny story, and so far they've fallen really flat. But I think I finally got one that might make you guys laugh. Aaron, did you hear about the guy that went into the Walmart bathroom? Did you guys hear about this guy? He was in the Walmart bathroom in Wichita, Kansas. Now, if you're an American, you know that we're a little bit sensitive. Like if you scream fire or bomb in an airport in America, that's not a good idea. Not a good idea. So this man
might even go beyond America. I think
it might at this point. Yeah, you would think. But this man walked into a a Home Depot bathroom, and he was in a hurry, and I guess he was a little bit of a comedian. So he walks into that bathroom and he tells everybody, "You all better get out of here because I'm about to bomb this place." He didn't mean the other kind of bomb. He meant that other kind of bomb, you know, the one that you don't want to be in the bathroom about.
Bomb.
You got it. So the people ran from the bathroom, called the police, and he was immediately accosted upon exiting the bathroom. Anyway, I thought that was a funny story.
That is a funny one. That
one was kind of funny.
Not bomb. It went well.
It didn't bomb.
I was going to say that.
Thank you, Sheehan.
So on a similar note, one of my friends, his name's Jeremy, he owned a company called Graphic Central in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And he and his family own that company, and they were always joking back and forth with each other. And he would oftentimes say in his best Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, "What? Get out! There's a bomb in there!" And one time he went into the restroom there and did something horrendous, you know. And then when he came out, he took a sticky note and wrote, "Get out! There's a bomb in there."
Oh no!
Put it on the door, they all went throughout the day, forgot about it, went home, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, they get a call from the bomb squad who had been called out by the cleaning crew that came in late at night and thought that they should get out because there was a bomb in there. And so
Hey, well,
he
at least we
explained
know
that.
this. At least we know the system works. We you will get the police to your house if you do that. We know that works, right? Well, Aaron, we have a great guest today. I'm very excited about this one. This is one of both. He's a long timer around here. We've known him forever. And if you guys don't know him, you're about to. I want you all to welcome to the stage Mr. Jim Puddin. Come on up. Yeah. All
Putting on
right.
the Rich.
Hey, hey, how
Putting
are
on
you?
the Rich.
How are
Time
you?
that people parachute
He's
in.
muted. I don't know if he knows that. You're muted. Puddin'.
Yeah, good
That's
looking
how he
out.
does
Yeah.
interviews. He just stays muted the whole time.
Like through,
He's
through
a
interpretive
miming.
dance.
A mime.
Yes, through interpretive dance. He will teach us.
Just a sign language with like 4 fingers.
Test. Is this
Oh,
thing
that's
on?
way worse. Mute yourself again.
Yeah.
No, I'm with him on that.
You made it boring. Mute yourself, man. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Challenge.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How are you?
Hello, Aaron.
How are you?
Hey, Jim.
I
great to see you, man.
am trepidatious but hopeful. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, well,
I'm so glad you're
there's
here.
there's a lot going on, and there's lots to talk about.
There is. There's so much to talk about. And we've had a long time relationship. I know Aaron's known you forever too. You've been around the metaverse forever. And I first met him. Of course, you and I have that echo right now. Why wouldn't we? It just adds to my day to day. So when I first met you, it was in your house that you had built that was an identical replica of your own house and those cool gadgets you had in there. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit first, because that was my introduction to you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I came in here, I was really excited because I've never had the opportunity to script real time. You don't have to compile or upload or wait. You can literally make something and script it and watch it happen right in front of you. And for me, that's my heroine. I could do that all day, every day. Someone in the real world has to remind me to take it off and eat, and or to go to bed because it's like tomorrow. So it's really easy for me to get carried away and explore. So it's just a matter of focusing that energy on something that people want. So I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a weekly contest, right? And we're going to be putting on a show and
Putting on the Ritz, as it were.
putting on a show. See? So that way the community can vote to try to come up with the best idea of what they're going to make me script that week. And then I'm just gonna smash my face against it until it's beautiful and perfect. And whoever came up with the best idea wins a free copy of the asset, and then the asset gets to go to my new magic store, Puddin's Peculiarities.
See, you're jumping
so
way ahead.
What platform are you going to use to like get the ideas and all that?
Right now, I'm just going to use some of the existing Facebook groups to kind of get the message out there and to allow voting. I figured what I would do is allow people to send me ideas all week, and then at the end of the week, I'll do a survey for like the top ideas that I feel like I want to work on that we could do something really cool with in here. But it has to be something new, a new mechanic, something no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cool.
That's
Is
really
cool. But before we go with your magic store, because I did want to talk about that, but I kind of wanted everybody to get to know you a little bit. So that's why I went back to Moonlight Drive, because your
Moonlight
story
Drive.
was so touching to me. And I kind of would like people that don't know you very well to understand the story behind Moonlight Drive. Do you mind talking about that? Or
Well, so I wanted a place to build where I would be comfortable, and I like using room scale and being able to walk around and be truly immersed. So what I did is I mapped out my house and put it in the Moonlight Drive, so I could just freely walk around my kitchen and put things, where they go and be able to build there. So I try to make assets that have a good perspective. So being in my home where everything is measured out, I know if I'm going to make a toaster, I know what the toaster looks like on the counter. I know how big it needs to be. I know how to, so that's basically where I build. And I construct, different assets. So I'll go in the backyard and make a backyard game, or in the garage. If anyone goes there, I have to do a shout out for Mike Hollis Jr. He has a model of the Starship Enterprise that I keep in my garage, because if you take it in the backyard and throw it, the thing is awesome, and it turns on light speed and comes back home. And if anyone wants to play with it, go over to Moonlight Drive and thank Mike Hollis Jr., because that is an amazing script he wrote.
Yeah. And the whole thing is, and that whole idea that it's an exact replica of your house was so intriguing to me, because he would say to me, I'm standing in the same location in my house. And I used to think, how in the world did you do that? I understand how you did it now. I've been around long enough, but that was so interesting to me that you could actually create the same exact environment, which I understood you did that a little bit to maybe with your wife, so she could be with you in your virtual reality house as well as your other house. That was kind of the thinking you had then, right?
Yeah, and I will say, she's not a big fan of virtual reality. But I wanted to create a familiar place to be able to introduce her to the prospect. We don't get out very much. We're all a little disabled in our own way. Put it that way.
Sure.
I have some social anxieties. I'm like patient 0 for ADHD, and I've just recently been able to kind of come to terms with my limitations versus my superpowers, and try to balance that out.
Wow. Hold on just a second. Let's talk a little bit about that. I don't want to redirect it too much, but man, you just said something super important. You balance disabilities with your superpowers.
Yeah. And I think that's true for, and I don't want to say that there's some, superpower to being physically disabled, but I feel like when you understand your capabilities, and you're honest with yourself about who you are, and there's a certain amount of perspective you get. I recently turned 50. I'm 51 now, if anyone's writing a book. But when I turned 50, it gave me a perspective to go back and look at my life and say, there's certain things that I've banged my head against my entire life, and was never able to overcome. And I'm not a weak person, and I'm fairly determined, but there are certain things that I've just never been able to actually do or fix. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of communication issues. People I'm in relationships with, I have a problem where I forget my friends when they're not in my immediate surroundings. And my best friend, I haven't seen him for like a year and a half. Well, I think it's been a year and a half. I really don't have a good concept of time. But, when he's there, it's like I just saw him and everything's great. But when he's not there, he has to realize I'm not going to reach out. I don't know why. It's just not something I think about doing. I'm always kind of busy with whatever it is that I'm doing, the current task at hand. And then there's a next task, and that's about all I have room for. So I'm just always... I live in the present kind of all the time. I can't handle thinking about something that I need to do, but I can't do now. So I just have to set a lot of timers to tell me, okay, now is the time to do this, and now is the time to do that, so I can kind of stop what I'm doing.
Well, I think that we all can grab something from what you just said there. Like, to have an awareness of our challenges, to have an awareness of what we struggle in business. There's a very well-known management strategy for planning. It's called SWOT analysis. And SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it sounds like you kind of have that on a personal level, where you'll look at your strengths, or as you termed it, which I just love that term, your superpowers and your weaknesses, or as you described it, as disabilities. So to be able to have an awareness of both of those things, and then also, of course, you could apply the opportunities and threats as well. But yeah.
Okay, but I want
commend you
to
for
say
that. Yeah.
something. Does the word opportunities not start with an O? Because you said SWAT, and doesn't that mean swoot? I'm just saying.
No, you have
Does
to do the
anybody
Canadian
else?
pronunciation.
I don't know, you
it's,
can-
it's
I know I'm a little literal.
Harvard or
All right.
Swiggity
Just
swoop.
want to make sure I missed something there.
yeah, I
Okay.
think maybe there's a beat
That's
to
like-
it. It's like
so here's a
swoot,
really good
swoot,
example.
dee,
So-
swoot,
Okay.
swoot,
Okay,
dee.
swoot. All right.
All right, did anybody recognize that song from? Oh yeah,
Swoot,
a couple
doot,
people.
da,
All right.
doot, da, da. That one? Doot, da.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Yeah, all right. All right.
okay. You all are just embarrassing me.
I'm sorry.
I
We're
feel
just
like
embarrassing.
We're kind of embarrassing ourselves. But,
Yeah, we're just kind of embarrassing. Anyway, that's just kind of that is. Anyway, I want to bring up some of the other things you do. You are very community minded, which I know you get lost in your own thoughts. I always thought you were just trying to block me, but now I understand. You just forget that I exist. But anyway, you are very community minded. You are always willing to help. It's one of the things I love best about you. I don't care how busy he is, he finds time to help. I'll say to him, hey, I have this problem. And he goes, well, let's go look at it right now. So we go and take care of it.
Nice.
You also are a person, when I asked for help to help someone else who was building a center, you jumped right in. And this is a huge time commitment. So talk about that center briefly and your part in it and how much I appreciate everything you're doing there, for sure.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
I mean, first of all, my point of view, and I really feel like anyone that has invested time in this platform, anyone that believes in the future in VR, anyone that wants this to not just be a waste of time they did for 5 years, needs to understand that it's about the community. It's about building something that's bigger than ourselves. I can work on my own brand all day, but if platform doesn't attract people, if people don't see VR as something that can be beneficial to their lives, then I've got no future and I'm wasting my time here. So I want the veterans to understand that maybe they're disabled or have to stay in a hospital room for 6 months getting treatment or whatever it is. They can't go out to a nightclub and meet new friends. Maybe they're in a place that they don't even live and they're in a hospital somewhere. They can put one of these on and go visit the world, but you can also
Right.
have these social experiences and make real friendships and there's a lot of value to that. And I think a lot of times in the digital world, people forget that human connection is so necessary. For someone like me, this is magic. I can put on an avatar and walk around amongst normal people and they talk to me and stuff and it's fun.
Normal.
Yeah, no,
I think
He
you
uses the term loosely. You see this, right? We're not all here.
No, they're-
Okay.
But so yeah,
Define
when
normal.
it comes to that specific community, I certainly feel like there's a huge potential there to be able to use these devices for something that's important, and giving someone a reason to wake up in the morning is what better cause is that,
Amen.
So, and I think a lot of people need that, and this thing can provide hope. You can connect with people and feel like you're okay, and there's a reason to come back, and there's a reason. And for God's sakes, if you've got a bone in your body about creation, this is the place you want to be, because
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
collaborating and if it's. There's no other app like this, and I've said it a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it. People that compare what Horizon is doing with any other app that I've ever seen is it's not the same. You can't just walk into VR chat and meet some people and say, let's go to a blank world and throw some stuff together. This will be fun. And if you're not creating, and you're in here just for the social side of it and meeting people, you have to understand we're still building stuff. We're raising that bar. And that's why I like to take people and do training sessions. That's why I share with people how, we create some of these amazing things and try to, I don't want to own the information and not give it away. I don't want to be the only one that knows how to do this. I want to do something no one's ever done and then say, look, this is how we do it. Isn't this amazing?
That philosophy that you have right there to share that knowledge, to not hoard it, but to share it with whoever wants it. I'll tell you, that positions you for success. Because what that allows you to do is move from a scarcity standpoint to an abundance mentality. And when you're willing to share whatever you have, you automatically are giving stuff away. And you can't help but to go into an abundance mentality. Like there is more than enough for all of us. And from that standpoint, from that mentality, you'll find opportunities and chances to collaborate because you'll be able to give, you'll be able to add value to those around. And man, you nailed it with a couple things that you said. You talked about in virtual reality how it makes things accessible. You talked about a disabled veteran who's able to come in and access places and experiences and people groups that they wouldn't otherwise. And then the community, like, wow, the community is so powerful.
Well, Aaron,
and like anytime you hear
if you're in a
Zuckerberg
wheelchair
talk,
and you roll into a room full of people, one of two things: either everyone's going to look away and pretend you don't exist, or people are going to walk up to talk to you about your disability. Everyone just sees the disability, and that's all they see. So these avatars are freeing for so many people, and to be on the side of it and see that and understand that this is the leveler. We're all avatars. We're all equal in here, and you're not going to say, hey, what happened to your leg? Why does you have that thing on your face? It takes all that away and truly makes us kind of blind, and in a way, sort of learn to respect people overall. As opposed to and just come from a place where we understand that each one of us is living our own individual life, and we have our struggles and we have our things. But in the avatar, we all get to be equal, and that's something that a lot of disabled people never get to experience.
You're so right, but that goes beyond even being disabled. It goes for money classifications and stuff. One of the things, the philosophies in private schools or even public schools was the uniform, and the reason being it doesn't, I was one of those kids that wore the same T-shirt 3 days a week, versus the girl that wore, a single outfit once a month, that kind of disparity, you see the differences there, and that puts you in a different place mentally when you get there. So, we're all got the same clothes.
Are you trying to say I should change my shirt?
I know. That Gucci thing you've got going there is a little intimidating. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Yeah, in age, we joke about it. I know I'm 100, and everybody already knows that. But in reality, people don't know how old we are. I've had amazing conversations with a 17-year-old thinking they were 30, or vice versa. But anyway, so it levels us, and I think that's wonderful. You feel called out? I won't say anything, but I kind of did see you over there. Anyway, but
it's funny. People talk about with age comes wisdom, and I don't think that's true at all. I don't think age gives you respect or wisdom. What it gives you is perspective, and if you're paying attention from that perspective, you can acquire wisdom, and you can, but you have to, that's the active part of it. Passively, you will get perspective. You just have to stop and look back and go, hey, you know what? This I have an issue right here that I've never been able to get past, and maybe I can work around it and work with it rather than try to maybe I should stop beating myself up for not being able to act normal in certain situations, and
True.
and I either avoid those situations or I explain to people that I have special needs in those situations and
Right.
not be ashamed to say it.
Right.
And that's a new thing for me.
I think a lot of us have gained knowledge and understanding of different groups too. I honestly, I have to admit, I didn't understand autism. I really, truly didn't, but I do now because I have a lot of people that are part of my life every day that have autism, and boy, did I misunderstand it. And I feel I'm so happy that I understand it now. It makes me happy. So
Well, the metaverse can go a long way with mental health understanding, mental health acceptance, mental health, we could have worlds that simulate certain things. I know I was working on a world that simulates certain emotions, anger, obsessive compulsion issues, things like that, where you can go in and live, you gamify it. And that's how a lot of us accomplish things. We gamify our lives. It's like, oh, okay. The other day, here's a great example. I was behind on my schoolwork. So I'm a full-time student to finish my game design degree. I'm a junior. So I was behind on my schoolwork, and I couldn't get motivated to start it. Every time I sit down at the computer, there were other things that would distract me. And so what I did is I let the dishes pile up in the kitchen. And the reason is because I don't want to do the dishes more. So in order to procrastinate cleaning the kitchen, I did my homework.
Dishes are so bad that homework looked better. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. I have a question for you, and I don't know if you're going to let me bring this up right now, but your bird, can we talk
My
about
bird.
that? Or we're saving
My
it?
bird. Yeah.
Wait,
Bird is the word.
wait. You know, before we get to the bird,
Okay.
I do want to talk about one thing. Born Studios, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
how many of these folks know that you were a big part of Born Studios. Unfortunately, Born came and went, right? And you came and went with it. But I do want to shed light on those creations you made because they're amazing. You were part of a team
And
that
right now,
I would like to. Go
Meta
ahead.
is featuring Born with Power. I'm pretty sure with this last update, I saw that in the main menu they were pushing it as the highlighted world, the special for the week.
It's a fun
and
one.
Born with Power is a very special one for me because this was my response to seeing PvPs that made me sad. I don't like games where everyone that moves is your enemy. I don't think it doesn't make me feel good to invite a bunch of friends into a room and then try to shoot them all in the face. That's I don't know what that's doing to me psychologically, and I just feel like there's got to be other ways to be more creative about it. So in Born with Power, what we have is a sort of a Tekken style fighting game where every fighter has a completely different style, different buttons, different things, different strengths and different weaknesses, and most of them are actually hidden. The only way to learn a character is to put on the costume, play the character, try the buttons, do different things, and see how you interact with your environment. So every player in there is 11 different costumes. Is it 11? I think it's 11 different costumes that are in there, and each one has different powers, and none of them are the same. As a matter of fact, there are 3 different flying characters in there, and all 3 of them use a completely different flying mechanic. Hyper Jewel and myself and John Byrne Buns each picked different characters to script, so that way we would have a different, unique approach to each character. To give them a backstory and something fun. And it ended up being a place where kids used to love to just go in there and troll each other and do things. And we saw worlds that were using
Looks like
IP.
we do have a question. I don't know, Lolly. If
Okay.
First, I want to thank you, unemployed.
I can't hear him.
alcoholic, and for creating.
Sounds like he's eating a
the show.
muffin
I
while
think
he's asking
you
a
did.
question.
And I do have a question.
There's a lot
Is
of
there an
pointing going
adequate
on.
tutorial?
Yeah. Can you jump up on stage just to amplify your voice a little bit?
Yeah, if you come right up on the stage, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right.
I like your
Okay.
die.
Thank you. is there a adequate world or an adequate tutorial? I go to so many of these worlds, and I don't like going to YouTube in order to find out how to start to play a game. What's the name of the world, and will it show up on my menu?
What you want to do is, and if you're talking about creation tutorials, you want to go into your menu and then go into create
sure
down on
that's
the
not-
bottom.
I was talking about specifically
You mean a description of his game in his
his
world.
game.
Yeah.
If I go to your
oh.
game, is there a
Yeah.
tutorial that'll teach me how to play it without a steep learning curve?
I understand what you're asking now, and I have to admit, this is where I have a weakness. A lot of times I design things that are intuitive to me, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be intuitive to anyone else on the planet. And I understand that now, so it's probably not just you. All I can say is create a private instance. And I tell people this a lot.
Yeah,
like, if
there
you
you
wonder
go.
what those are, click on the three dots, create a private instance, because then you'll be in there by yourself, or you can invite just a friend, and then you can practice with each of the different characters to learn what they do. And there are some little hints. And when you first walk in, there's a board there that lists the abilities of each of the different players and kind of gives you some hints as to what they do. Time Lord is probably the most
question,
powerful
Reggie.
character in there, so that he's got a secret that where he can jump portals. So if you figure out his portal jumping secret, then you can get into it. The idea is to keep some of the information hidden, so you have to play with the character to figure it out, and then you're in on it.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
played
thanks for
enough-
that, Reggie. Thanks for that
say
question.
Time Lord?
I've played enough role-playing games to know you just have to hit buttons.
Yeah,
find out
figure it
what
out.
to do.
I'm just like you. I don't. If the instructions are too long, I'm not reading them either.
Yeah, I don't
This is
even-
why he invites me to test a lot, because he knows that if I can do it, anyone can do it, and that's fine. That's
She
how
breaks all my
we
stuff.
became friends. Yeah, Or I stand there and he's like, "Lolly, can't you figure this?" No.
Here's a really
So I
funny
get-
story. There's a really funny story, and I'm going to keep this really brief. But in Santa's workshop, which was a Born creation, there is a thing in there called the Elfavator, and this was my Rube Goldberg contribution of a physics machine where you would pull this rope and it releases a snowball and it rolls down a track, lands in a basket that pulls a pulley, and it falls down, and the pulley brings the elevator up. When it hits the ground, it lands on top of a boiling pot of water, which melts the snowball slowly and then allows the elevator to go back down again, right? So when I originally designed it, I wanted the rope to feel heavy, so I made it so you had to grab it with two hands to pull it down. And to me, I was like, this is really intuitive. You grab it with one hand. So what happened is everyone went in there, grabbed it with one hand, and said, well, shit, that doesn't work. And then so I learned the hard way that, no, that's not intuitive for most people. So you need to actually fix that. And I struggled because it was something, I held on to it. But, sometimes you have
I
to
would need a
kill
sign
your
that pops up and goes,
darlings.
"Use both your hands, man."
And that's actually that's a really good. Oh, by the way, again, Reggie, thanks for popping up.
Yeah,
to
thank you.
ask the question.
Thanks, Reggie.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, in game design, play testing
Yeah.
is the most important part, and that's where you have to figure out, like, there's a disconnect. I find it intuitive, and I think it's a
here's-
great idea, but
Yeah, well, but here's the thing: you were trying to solve a problem at that time that the typical player isn't trying to solve. You were trying to solve the problem of how do I make this heavy? Oh, well, you use two hands, and now it is going to feel like it's heavy. But that's not the problem that the typical player is trying to solve. So from that perspective, it's very intuitive. Oh, this is a heavy rope. I need to use two hands. But if you take
We just
that
don't
framework
expect that
out-
level, though. That's part of the problem. Is you are kind of next level builder. We don't expect that all the time. So that's what happens there. But it wasn't just that world. You had Santa's Workshop. You had the Midway, which is one of my
we built
favorites.
8 worlds in 1 year. Well, it was shy of a year. The Born Studios and Horizon Worlds went about 11 months. And during that 11 months, we released 8 official Born Worlds and made just countless prototypes for clients and things. We have some amazing worlds that that no one will ever see, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean that we can't, build on that. I just, and I tell people all the time, it's like, if you want to get good at scripting, you just need to do it and bang your head against it and ask for help and do the things. I am very fortunate because for a year, I got paid to get really, really good at it. So at this point, it's just like, bring me an idea, let's script it, because I know how to do all the things and can try to think outside the box. But there's 100 different ways to do the same thing. I just don't like it when people get lazy and say, "Oh, I need fire. I'm just going to pull this out because this is what everyone uses as fire, and so this is fire now." And everyone just assumes, oh, "Okay, that's the best fire, and no one's ever going to do it better. So let's not make a better fire." And
Did you make the
I'm under
fire
impression-
Did you make the fire at the Degenerative Center? The ones that shoot up the word love?
I made the fire and Santa's fire pit at the workshop there. I made the fire at. A couple other places that don't exist in the public. So no, I didn't make the one at the Veterans Center. I'm not sure which.
No,
one
I mean
that
the one
is.
at the new center that you're working on right now. The one that shoots up the word love.
Did you go full
No.
Tom Hanks and be like, I made fire?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, and I need more chaos in worlds. I like having things feel alive, and when you just when everything is static, or let's say you've got some visual effects, but they're on a steady loop. What happens psychologically, well, for me, is I'll stand in the world and just look at the things, and my brain will record all the loops. And I'll see the patterns, and it's just like, okay, ba-doom, we've got a downbeat in this world, and everything is firing at the same time, and it doesn't feel alive that way. Introducing a little bit of randomness in the right places is all you really have to do to make something feel a lot more like the environment is reacting to you.
It's true, and of course, in here, our building partners are the magicians over at Inspire Create Labs.
Right. Yeah. No.
And I've been able to kind of like sit over their shoulders as they're kind of doing some things. And I'll tell you what, the random movement that you're talking about, having little things that change subtly and that's so important to breathe life into a space. And then the other thing is lighting. My goodness, these folks they're just geniuses when it comes to lighting. And you'll come in and see a space that's flat without the lighting, and then when the lighting comes in, it's like, okay, now I'm here. It's amazing. But yeah, if the lighting is too uniform, it will have that same thing as you're talking about, where you can recognize the downbeat, and it's like, wait, this isn't right.
I love watching these builder forums because people every day are raising the bar and showing these amazing scenes and lighting. I want to call out RJ, a creator. Holy cow! I mean. There's so many names I don't need to mention because they've been around forever. But I love the fact that everyone is building right now and showing new things and showing amazing things, and that's what we should all be doing. We all need to be the biggest cheerleaders of each other, and push this stuff on social media. Make people ask, how do you do that? And how these videos are amazing, and it's just
and for those of us who spend a lot of time in Horizon Worlds, we're kind of like a frog in the boiling water in a good way. Like we're here and there's subtle changes every day, and we get used to it, and that's just kind of the way it is.
Right.
But we really want perspective. Go back and start looking at social media posts of what the platform was a year ago.
It's amazing.
And
it's amazing.
It's amazing. And what does
growth.
that mean? That means that a year from now, there will probably be even a more dynamic difference than between now and a year ago. And so it comes back to that abundance mentality. You're exactly what you're talking about. We need to celebrate each other's advancements and learn from each other and grow together. Because if we try to hold on tight to some small advantage that we have right this second, we'll end up getting passed by in the future because it's going to be
Well, I mean,
much faster.
It's
moving
this
than we
this
know.
moment in the community where you have to realize that we all have to we should all want each other to succeed. If your plan of success, if your idea of success requires other people to not do as well, you need to revise your plan because
Absolutely.
that's not healthy to build this to be something bigger and something greater than ourselves.
That is
And of
such
course,
a
that's
great statement.
scarcity.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So
Preach.
true. Right?
That's
So
a
true.
scarcity mentality. Like the only way I'm going to get something is if I take it from you, and if
Right.
you get something, then you're taking it from me. There's a scarcity, and that's
Yeah.
we won't find abundance there.
No, you are so right. I do want to get to something important here because this is probably the most important part of this whole interview, and that's why I want to bring it up right now before we get too late. Let's talk about your magic shop. I mean, that to me is the greatest culmination of all of your talent. I've
Let me see
always
if I can do
looked at
it. Watch. Puddin's peculiarities.
Yes, Puddin's peculiarities. Now, he is, if you haven't seen his work, he's the kind of person who is very detailed. Would that be a fair description? You're very, very detailed. You go down to the levels, like I always talk about your coffee maker.
This ogre's
he
got
has
layers. Yeah.
Yeah, and he made a working Keurig down to the pod going in, the coffee pouring, the handles flipping, the buttons I mean everything. And this has been a year ago you did that. Now if you go to his magic shop and you look in there, you will be amazed. He also has a pet rock in there, which is my
have a pet
favorite
rock.
thing. Did you
Yeah,
notice
most
I
of
would?
the- yeah.
Did you notice I
was-
annoyed you again with your pet rock? His pet rock.
I
His
didn't
pet
see it.
rock is this little box, and you can pull the pet rock out and you can play with him. You can toss him, and he rolls back and he hops and wiggles around and hops back in his box. But I figured out a way to put him in the corner. And so Jim's like, "No, that shouldn't happen." So I keep going into his magic place and hiding the rock in another corner that he can't get back to his box.
So the rock is actually an experiment, and this was fun. So I scripted the rock to want to be in the box. I didn't script the rock to go to the box. I just scripted it to want to be in the box. And
So his feelings are hurt, probably.
it knows approximately where the box is, and so it uses a force push that's happening on update on a small increment. So the longer it doesn't move toward the box, the more it really wants to, until it actually rolls over. And then it builds up pressure again.
I think he's afraid of me now. He sits in the
and
corner when I
rolls
go in
over.
there.
Then when it gets close enough to the box, then it knows it needs to jump, but it doesn't know how hard it needs to jump. It doesn't calculate a trajectory. It just sort of flings itself at the box.
Okay.
So it's very common to see it miss multiple times before it actually finds its way home. But yeah, it's
Well,
just it's an
describe the other
experiment of
things
trying
in
to
there.
make the most
That
dead
rocks.
things in the world alive.
It does. It rocks. Totally rocks.
Dad
And
joke's
nobody
fully
puts that
welcome
rock in
there.
the corner except for Lolly
No.
D. Anyway,
So I have a kite. I
get
have a
that
kite in
reference.
there that's alive. I have a living bird in there. I have
the bird. Describe the bird.
The
I
bird.
love the bird.
So the bird animation is just it's a lot of math. Doing the IK on the flap on a dual jointed wing. Kind of like I want to make this pterodactyl looking thing, and I actually developed it for another builder for another world. But I've always wanted to make this animation, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to apply this to it. I'm going to make a completely different model. So when that world comes out, and he pushes it, everyone will know. You'll be like, oh, that's Jim's bird. But anyway, it's alive because I'm allowing it, and I'll describe it very quickly mathematically. I'm allowing a purlin noise to control how much it rolls, and a roll is on the z-axis, so like this with your arm. So I'm allowing it to decide to just sort of roll a little this way or roll a little that way, but then I'm using the mathematics to say, okay, based on that roll, how quickly would it turn? How would it bank? How would it move up and down on the y-axis? And once I've got that all in place, all the physics of how flight works, then I just let it go and tell it to roll however it wants. And it's alive. You can watch a thing for hours. It's
Nice.
amazing.
It
Yeah,
is, and it
it's
does
really
look totally
beautiful.
real. I walked into a place that bird is right now, and I saw him, and I thought, oh wow! And I mean, looks like a real bird. There's no doubt, it looks just like a real bird, and the movements are real. So you did a great job with that. I really appreciate it. Talk about the store individual. It's
Okay.
You look at it from the outside, it looks like a magic store, like an old time magic store, like you would have seen in the Gremlins movie, right? So you go in. Well, that's kind of, it's got that vibe, and you made the doorbell, the kind of ringing noise, like the bells on the door when you go through, which I adored and loved. But when you go inside, it is different. It is different. And tell them some of the things they'll find in there.
Okay, so what I've done is I've created showrooms to showcase some original scripts, some things that I've made for the Bourne worlds that you won't see in other places. They're not based on anyone else's. I have this thing where usually when I bring a new asset in, I'll script it from scratch every time. And it might take a minute longer, but I'm going to approach the script differently. I'm going to make it more efficient. I'm going to make it better. So there's different iterations of different scripts. And then when I finally get something where it can't possibly be improved on, it becomes this thing we call puddin perfect. So a puddin perfect script is guaranteed for life. If someone purchases a puddin perfect script from my store and I find a way to improve it, then I will contact them and make them an upgraded version of that asset as well. So right now
Very
there's
nice.
a puddin perfect door script, which is the door you were talking about. I've got different showrooms that load in. So if you walk to the back wall, there's a switch on the wall, like a selector, and you can select the showroom you want. So I've got a living room showroom, a kitchen showroom. I've got showrooms of the doors that we worked on together. All my collaborative works have a door in there if you want to explore where some of these scripts have been applied. A good example is the pedals. So I invented a way to pedal a wheel, and in Bourne's Water Park, that wheel is used to power those pedal birds. And you can use those pedal birds and go around the lake pedaling with your hands. And it was really fun to find a way to force an action on a player and make them do something that feels natural. It's kind of a brain trick because you don't actually have to move your hands. It does it for you. But if someone has a good idea for using that pedal script to do something else, to power something else, I want to be able to say, here, I'll sell you the script. You go do whatever you want to do with it, because it does have a lot of fancy math in it and some magic numbers and some other things. But I want to see what the community makes with my mechanics. So I think my time is best spent creating unique mechanic after unique mechanic and new stuff and new stuff. I throw it in the store for other builders to come and take it from me and make it into something bigger, make it into something better. I've got my remote control cars in there now. Those remote control cars work amazingly, but the asset itself is right from Meta. All I did is replace the front wheels to make them turn individually. But that script could be applied to any vehicle. It could be made into a driving vehicle. It could made, and it's original. It's one of mine. It's not. I didn't look at someone else's script or base it on someone else's work.
Right. And that's what I like. What I like most about you is like, for me, that I'm just a user. I'm not a builder scripter. So for me, I've actually bought somebody else's stuff because, it's like, this is cool. This isn't just in the asset store. And it cost me a whole $10. I mean, come on, that was not bad. And it was something good. I look at some of the things that you've built and they're very reasonably priced, but they're so different. They're like,
varied.
That's why I encourage everybody to go in there. I mean, there's working fans,
Well, there's going to be
light
new
switches,
there's going to be
cool
new
stuff.
assets every week, and that's really the goal, is that I want to just keep creating new assets that builders can take and do whatever they want to with. And please show me, bring it back and show me, hey, I took your script and did this with it, because I get so excited about
That's
that.
cool.
And we give each other different ideas. So if at bare minimum, even if some people don't want to, support my living trying to do this as a job, because if I got a job in the real world, I have to stay home to take care of my family. I have a lot of reasons that I have to work from home, besides just my own disabilities. But if I can support myself in here, that means I can stay here and keep creating and all these things for the community. And so really that's the idea. having the weekly contest give people an ability to, if you've got a good enough idea, I'm going to make it and you're going to get it for free. That's the whole idea. It's like to give people a way to get me to make cool stuff for them.
I
You
love
just have
that.
to have the
I think
best
that's a
idea
great
that
idea.
week. So
You know,
I'm going to
before-
get that going this week. But
We're going to
I
keep
also-
talking. We're going to keep
Okay.
talking. But I also want to say, if anybody has a comment, question, anything you want to know from Jim, or just you want to talk to him, come up. Come, just stand right here or there, and we'll know you're waiting. Okay? Where are you? Did you want? Come on up, Golden.
Yeah,
Come on.
cool.
Come on up.
First of all, I just want to say, thank you for providing events like these and creating a platform like this, because things like this are very relatable, especially what you talked about, Jim, mentally and whatever, and all the gizmos and whatever. But my question is just for you three in general, for world creators. Obviously, this world is rather popular. You get a lot of people come back all the time here. So any tips for world creators in terms of how could they make their world, once they publish, have longevity in terms of not only bringing them into the world once, but making sure that they're coming back again? So is it unique gizmos and scripting, or is it just talking with other people? Like, what kind of tips do you have to make sure that their worlds could have longevity?
That sounds like an Aaron question.
I can jump into that for sure. First off, thanks for being here. I really appreciate
Thank you.
that you're here, and I love the fact that you enjoy the world and that. But yeah, the secret sauce of the Soapstone is actually the same secret sauce that Jim was talking about with Meta Horizon Worlds in general.
Yeah.
People can come into Meta Horizon Worlds and create. They can collaborate. They can be part of a community. And in the Soapstone, it's the same thing. The fact is, Johnny, Terminator, were up in the booth helping create this experience, create this show. Lolly D, Trainer Cal, they take the lead on this. I mean, it's very unusual for me to be up on stage. Typically, I'm just staying out of their way, and they're running with it, and they're creating it. So when that happens, it sparks life into people, and it people find purpose. People find that adding value to the community around them is incredibly important and powerful. So if you can tap into that and give people purpose and give people community and give people relationships with other people and achievement, and that is the secret sauce of success, really, in the Soapstone, in Horizon Worlds, and really in anything. Tapping into that drive to be a part of something and succeed.
Fantastic. That's really great advice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Golden, for the great question. We loved it. Anyone else? Oh, come on up, Sturm.
So my question is, what has been your biggest challenge and accomplishment here in the metaverse?
My biggest challenge, probably translating JP Cloud. I'm sorry, Joyce. That is a joke for people that are familiar with Born Studios. My biggest challenge, I would say, is I guess. I mean, it always comes down to time. I guess I would say that there's only so much time. I want to create everything, and trying to balance it out and decide where I'm going to spend my time becomes more important as you get older. Hobbies, you look at it differently. Like, if I'm going to spend a big chunk of my life doing something, you want it to mean something, and you want it to, and I will admit, with my reality, I don't do well with the passing of time. I don't understand. I don't perceive time the same way as you do. So it's especially challenging to decide, okay, I want to spend this much time working on this project because I'm going to value the time I spend. And there's a certain level of joy I get out of creating for just myself, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I also know that I have to put food on the table and provide for my family. So I'm hoping that I can, inspire the community to stay active and to invest in the platform and grow. I'm really excited for October. I'm really excited for the new quest. I'm really excited for this particular holiday season.
Yeah,
I think
we're all excited.
I think we're going to get that rush of brand new users.
Yep.
And they're going to be brand new to VR. They're not going to be coming from a failed Microsoft platform that where they have a certain expectation level. And if we can show them something amazing, then we can keep them here. So I just, like, in the back of my mind, I'm just constantly like, keep making amazing things and get the community to put them in all the worlds. So that way, when people see this stuff, they can be like, wow, how'd they do this? How'd they do that?
That is so true. That's so true. Thank you, Stern. That was great.
What was
Jeannie,
your
did you have a question? Did you have one? You answered it beautifully. You answered it beautifully. Come on up, Jeannie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Go ahead.
Hey, Jim. So nice to meet you. So as I'm fairly new to Horizons and as a new builder myself, I'm just looking for tips and anything, or from you, Aaron, anything. I'll just take any kind of tips. And,
the best advice I can give you is think about what it is you want to create and get to know that idea intimately. Get to know every little piece of it and break it down as small as you can possibly imagine. A great example would be like a toaster. It's a fairly simple thing, but if you say, I just want to make a toaster, you don't know where to start. And so you can make something that looks like a toaster, and then you have to ask yourself, well, what does it need to do? Well, when I put my finger over here, I want it to push the thing down. Okay, well, we can script that. Now, that's a specific thing. So the idea is anything that you want to build, anything you want to create, break it down into the smallest possible increments, because then we can sit down and knock out each little part of it as part of a script and build something that works together. So my advice to you is, when you get an idea for something, take off the headset and get out a piece of paper and a pencil and make some notes, make some sketches, and decide all the rules for how this object is going to interact with your world or the players, or what exactly is it that you're trying to do. Because if you can describe it with enough detail, the code blocks are there.
okay.
So,
I think
and
the other
I
problem-
would actually balance that out a little bit, because it's so interesting. Your core strength is the detailed building, and mine is more of like the overarching direction and community building and stuff. And so our answers come from other ends of the spectrum. But to balance that out, I'd share with you something that I think about quite literally on a daily basis, and that is something that I learned through the addiction recovery process, and it's called the Serenity Prayer, and it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That helps keep me in the mindset of focusing my energies and my efforts on the things that I can actually have an impact on, and not letting the things that are outside of my control drag me down. If there's a day where we're running into bugs, that might be outside of my control, and I can't let that drag me down. If there's conflict between me and another person, 100% of the time, my perception of that conflict and my response to that conflict is under my control. And their perception of that conflict and their response to that conflict is not. So I will always try to focus on what I can control, which is myself, and try to just have the serenity to accept what I can't control, which is what the other person is doing.
I don't think we answered the same question, Aaron.
I do. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Jeannie. That makes perfect sense. Sheehan, come on up. Come up.
Hey guys, thank y'all so much. It was a great show. I loved hearing everything you were talking about. I don't so much have a question so much as I do like a comment. Like something you said earlier, really resonated with me. Like a little backstory. I'm an entertainer. I'm your singing, dancing, acting, martial artist, gymnast, DJ, host, at your service. I live to entertain. It's my thing. And you were saying earlier how, I'm good at just talking a lot. I was fine. You were saying how the it's about the community. It's bringing people together. It's exactly why I entertain. It's like, why do you read a book? Why do you watch a movie? Why do you play a video game? To enjoy something for 5 minutes, 2 hours, to get away from the trials and tribulations of this everyday world, to, I don't know, get hope. And I feel like that's definitely what we can do here, because literally from what I don't know much about building, but I talk to a lot of people, and I'm learning a little bit here and there. And from what I'm seeing, the only limit to what we want to do in here is our imagination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
agreed. Absolutely.
It's ridiculous the things we can do if we all work together.
It's so true. And we're so much better together. So much better together. More brains are always going to be better than less.
I do. I think about you day and night.
Day and night. It's only right.
Come on, Drew.
You
coming up?
And hold me tight.
So happy
Thanks,
together.
Are you coming up, Drew? Come on.
Drew Ironheart. In the house.
Yeah, I'm a supporter, and I haven't met you yet. I haven't met the owner. But
Thank you.
Drew, can I introduce you to Aaron? Aaron, this is my new friend Drew. You guys are totally friends
now. Now you guys are friends. We're good.
I'm a builder myself. I've been like a month into building, and I'm just getting into scripting, and I'm trying to make me a really ultimate RPG game. I've already named it Adventure World RPG. So I want it to where it's swords and shields, some magic, some creatures where you have to, slay the animal. I'm in the middle of making the creatures right now, but I am also trying to find, people who can help me script, because I'm not a very good scripter, But I have a lot of details on what to make and everything. I want to make a really good game, because I believe in making something that everyone can enjoy, and that's what I want to do.
Well, let me stop you. There's no such thing as a good scripter or a bad scripter. There's an experienced scripter and an inexperienced scripter. So you're new at scripting. Don't label yourself as good or bad or anything. It's just a matter of there's a lot of tricks, Drew. And I'll be really honest with you. There are a lot of tricks to the trade, and it's only with experience that you figure out the kind of the best approaches to certain things. But you can always jump in. Join one of the builders communities if you haven't yet on Facebook, because the builders communities out there are like, people want to give you answers if you have questions. And but just remember that the more specific you can be, hey, I'm trying to do this. This is my approach. Why isn't it working the way I want it to work? And I'll skip a meal to jump in and answer that and try to look smart in a room full of people. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, ask a lot of questions and just break down, to be specific about what it is you're trying to accomplish.
You are one of those people we could talk to all day. I do talk to you all day. There's that. And you listen sometimes. Anyway, thank you, Drew, for your wonderful question. And also, I wanted to see if there's anyone else, because we're already over time, but I don't want to leave you out. Reggie, do you have one more question? Or Drew, did you wait before you go, Drew? Drew, were you done? Were you finished? I'm sorry. Was there anything else you wanted? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you. All right, Reggie, one more. Go ahead, Reggie.
Before you go, I just wanted to see if you'd come back up on stage.
Come back up, Reggie, if you have one more question. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, I've been all this time that I've been gone looking for that world that you mentioned that had 11 characters.
Oh, Born with Power.
Born to Power.
With.
Born with power. Yeah.
Born
Born.
with
If you
power.
just search
If you
born,
search power?
you'll get all 8 of the born worlds plus a song, a random one saying a star is born, and then there's one like born in a manger.
Okay.
But other than those 2, the rest of them are all of mine.
Yeah, and they're great.
Well,
they're
mine-
great worlds.
And I just want to, in case we didn't say it earlier, and I know we are over time, but I do want to point out that the Born team was first and foremost John Burnbuns, Joyce J.P. Cloud, Dan Tanzer VR, Hyperjewel,
Great
and
people.
myself.
All great people.
So it is every one of those worlds is a collaboration between most of us. And I'm certainly not going to say that this world was all me. I will tell you, like, oh yeah, that's definitely my script. You can usually tell if it's my script because you can't read that thing, and I don't comment for shit.
Well, thank you, and I'm telling you, you all are going to change the world. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
be right
Well,
in there
that's
with
what we're
you.
trying to do.
Awesome.
I have come here to prepare a place for me when I'm done with the other world. To be quite honest,
Exactly.
I think that the stuff that we're building today is going to be the world of the future. And when I take off these goggles and look around, what I see is just 20 years of advancement and resolution.
Yes, I'm in the midst of transforming myself too. So,
All right,
I'm
Reggie. All
I'm
right.
just going to the other side happily, and I'll do it.
But I am
virtually.
going to go. I am going to go over to the magic shop after this. If anyone wants to come and has more questions, or if you want to see some of the things we have at the shop, the bird is flying around in there. Although it's dark, so he's not. You can't really see him very much up close unless you get lucky, because he is alive. He might come and hit you in the face. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what you should do, if you don't mind, when you go outside, maybe just open a portal to the magic
Yeah,
shop.
I'll just open a portal
Definitely
and
go over
out
there and
there.
check it
Yeah.
out. It's so cool. And
So
put that
way,
rock
like,
in the corner.
If
Put it in
any
the
of you
corner.
have a burning question, or you want to throw something at me, we can just do it there instead of making this show longer.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you, Aaron and Sensei Jay. Thanks for showing up at the last
you,
second and
guys.
filming for me. I so appreciate you. So, everybody, thanks. It's been another wonderful episode of Good Morning Soapstone. We appreciate you all. Thank you. All right.
Good. Thank you, Lolly D.
All right. All right.
So I'll
Let's go.
see you in the magic shop.
Yeah, why don't you go out there and open up your portal? These folks want to go see that. I think that's amazing.
That just sounded wrong. I'm going to go up there and
It just-
open up.